All right, everybody. I'm actually filming with my iPhone right now. I'm going to actually compare my Lumix over to the iPhone because, to be honest, not having the flip screen has definitely been a little bit problematic. But not only that, the live preview compared to what I have with the Sony RX 105, it's not quite tweaked out to basically what I would call a live preview. So everything looks a little bit more blown out and all. So I'm going to film this on an iPhone as well. I'm going to compare the two and see which one to roll with. So if you're seeing this message, it's because I went with the iPhone. So what do we have here today? So first off, I have a covering, which is not typical for ceremony and for a reason. We're going to have both ceremony and dinner in the same area, but cocktail and dance is going to be in another location. So let's kind of play out how everything's going to go. First off, as we can see here, this is a staging area, the platform for the ceremony itself. They have all the benches over here, about 69 people in total for today. So thus my ceremony rig's there for mic setup. I'm only using 2 for today, my handheld, and 1 for the officiant. Groom did not want to be mic'd up. But as you notice, it's not on wheels. And the ground here is just really soft. Lots of leaves, some rock. It's just not, even if I had my rock and roller, I just don't think it would have worked too well overall. So for now, I'm dealing with having to manually load this in and out. And that's actually going to cause a small problem later on as dinner rolls in, then we have to move over for dance. I still need to break this down. I still need to get this all loaded in my van, and normally I have this all kind of pre-set up. Well, unfortunately I can't be 2 places at once. So I'm probably just gonna have to leave it here and then come back late night for things, and at 11 tonight starts at 4:30. And just out of curiosity, we're at 3:50 right now, so about 40 minutes to go. So this is a little bit more of a different type of setup than what I had to do. I had my cocktail and dinner music all rolled into one playlist or crate. If you're a Serato person, it would be a crate virtual DJ playlist. But they're both the same style. It's a Rat Pack kind of jazzy kind of thing for today. But because of the 2 different locations, I did decide everything's gonna for dinner is gonna come out of here. Even though I did broadcast out from both setups to the other location, and I was right on the fringe. It's about 250 or so feet, but I'm also going through a lot of house, and a lot of a hill on top of all that. So just not the biggest conducive thing without maybe breaking out my fin or whatnot. But given the distance and all that, it's just not going to be worth it in the end. So I broke out my crates a little bit to split a little bit more between cocktail and also what we're going to have for dinner. For dinner itself, you have this kind of circular table around what I'm assuming is going to be a fire. I don't know if they're starting the fire early on or what, so I'm hoping there's not going to be a lot of smoke in the area, but definitely a really unique, I've never done a dinner setup quite like this, so this by far has been a more unique just visual than I've seen in a very long time, so that's going to keep things interesting. But why don't we go ahead, we're going to walk up now over and let's see what the cocktail and the cocktail and dance area is going to look like. As we can see, they put some crushed rock around the seating area, and again, the bonfire 3-ring kind of setup here. And as we can see, definitely a bit soft, a bit rocky walking up. Now, luckily, we had original forecast of 52 degrees and rain. So definitely wouldn't have been down there. Everything would have been inside this house. But it did, I think, soften up things probably just a little bit compared to if it was fairly dry. But here we have the main house as we're walking up. It looks like he's still taking photos too, so I'm going to see if I can squeeze in. course, we have our signing book here, cards, photo. Here is my other Maui 5 Go. And again, I would want to call this like about 275, maybe 300 feet. I'll take a look at the map after. This is shooting down, definitely has a pretty wide area that it covers. That's why I love my Mauis. And in we go. All right, so probably one of the very first things you might notice is my controller is on a table. And when I was loading everything in, noticed a nice crack on my Odyssey stand. Now, it may have held up, but I wasn't going to risk it. I knew that the venue had a table already. They had emailed me before about it, so I was able to just use that table. That does have a routing of wire issue because naturally there's no hole in this table for it, so I had to route my wires up front. I'll show that in a second. Just one EV50 today, and again, only 69 people, smaller, older room, so just not a whole lot of area for two speakers. But if you look behind me here, this is the dance area. Definitely nice, interesting, old school room. Definitely pretty nice. So let's take a look behind. All right, as I mentioned before, the unfortunate cable run that I had to do, but I wanted to make sure nothing was visible from up front. Of course, we're still running Virtual DJ 2020. Everything's been very smooth for me, especially on the NS7 IIIs. Below, under the curtain, of course, we have my 2-pack, my UI24. A review of a bag I'm going to be doing very soon. And that's about it. So pretty simple setup. We're going to again do our first dance, our parent dance. We're going to have that out here. And then we'll just be doing dancing for the rest of the night. All right, so that is the lay of the land. Again, a little bit more different flow between having ceremony down, then cocktail up, dinner down, and then specials and dance up. So a little bit different flow. We'll see how that works. We actually have a 90-minute cocktail, so it'll last a little bit longer for that. And again, I don't have to worry about the logistics of striking and getting everything in my van at some point. So we'll see how the day goes. All right, everybody, ceremony is over. It's really short and sweet, nice. Exchanged some quick vows. Headed up here for cocktail. So I'm actually trading off today between a bagpiper and playing essentially right now vitamin string quartet in those silent moments, and then it'll be a little bit more of the Rat Pack and jazzy flavor down over for dinner. But this is a cocktail right now. Like I said, about 69 people. Nice, easy. Temperature is actually still really, really nice. A little on the cool side, but not too bad. All right, everybody, we just finished up Shelby and Tyler's wedding and had a few things to contend with, some technical issues and some logistic issues too. So let's kind of iron a few things out. First, the technical issues. The big thing, my Lumix GX85 camera that I just bought, unfortunately just did not work for me. I knew I was going to have some focus issues to begin with. I heard some low light focal issues, just trying to hunt around for an autofocus, which I thought I can combat with setting to manual. But I actually noticed in actually fairly decent light, it was really having problems focusing on my face. It was nice and sharp for everything behind me, but what good is that? And pretty much all the footage that was recorded from that just unfortunately had to go to the garbage. I did switch to my iPhone, so you did see some of what I had in the iPhone, and unfortunately my audio, I couldn't sync it up with my master track because everything I recorded on my iPhone were just really, really short tracks, and getting those to kind of sync up properly is a real pain. So I had that issue to contend with. From another technical issue, my Odyssey folding stand I noticed on the side had a big crack down the side, and I didn't notice it. I don't know if it happened from the last wedding when I was loading in, if it fell over or something, but unfortunately when I looked at it, I just was not going to trust using that stand. So luckily, the venue had a table, and I was able to work around it. I did have to kind of compromise a little, reroute my cables, so that way everything looked nice and sharp up front. But that was something that I had to contend with. And luckily, I do have replacement folding stands. I actually had 2 more downstairs for future weddings. But at least I don't have to worry too much about that. But the other one, unfortunately, gets chucked out in the garbage. From a logistics issue, this one was a little bit different than typical because we had both the ceremony and dinner pretty much at the same spot, while the cocktail and dancing was going to be in the main building. So there was a little bit of distance between them. And it just proved for a little bit more of logistics of getting people moved around and all that, but also a logistical issue of me having my equipment down there basically for the entire night. And then I had to leave it there until everything was wrapping up. Then I had to kind of button things up when I had the time. And it's dark down there. It was cold. I didn't want to have to leave everything there, but it is what it is. That was just the breaks of the game. Everything worked just perfectly fine. I just used my Soundcraft. I threw everything on shuffle. I had my music all set for it. It was kind of this more Rat Pack-ish kind of flavor to it. And everything worked great with that. We did our introduction there as well, and also we did our speeches by the fire. So very nice, cozy, something different. So I really like the uniqueness of it. It's nice to kind of break up that typical pattern that you see as a wedding DJ where everything relatively falls in the same type of category. So that was definitely nice. And then one other logistical issue that I was unaware of is they were also going to be showing the football game while I was playing. So a lot of distraction from people trying to enjoy the game. And I saw people dancing and all that. So you have to be in a completely different mindset of who you're trying to cater to music-wise, who's dancing, who's still enjoying it, but it may just not be totally into the dance because they're really vibing with the game. So as a DJ, these are just the things you have to contend with. These are the things that and unfortunately I didn't know that was going to happen, so I had to get into a different mindset of how I was going to run the night. But that's just what you do. You change the game as necessary. You play to the crowd that shows up. In my case, I was still seeing some activity from the people who were a little bit less into it, but I tried to cater to them a little bit. And that's the way the night went. Ultimately, it was just a really great night. Again, a little bit different vibe, but I like different. I like unique. I like having those couples who have this off the beaten path, a different vision for what they want for their wedding. So I really truly enjoy that. And I really hope you enjoyed this gig log. I know it was a little bit different because I just had far less video than I would normally capture. I'm going to be trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my camera situation. I have a couple ideas in mind for cameras I might either buy or rent. I only have a couple gigs for the rest of the year, so I may just rent a couple different types of cameras, give them a try in real life situations and see how that kind of plays out, and then make a big purchase come next year for what I'm going to do camera-wise. But I really hope you have enjoyed this series so far. Got a couple left to go. See you soon.